Good evening, everyone. So tonight we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into digestive issues. What causes them, long term, short term, and let's just cover all the bases of what could be happening to your body when you have a digestive tract issue. Digestive tract goes from mouth to rectum, and it is often irritated by foods and lifestyle changes. So let's dig into that a little bit, okay? I've got 7 different points that I have wrote down, and I have researched this for a while. I have lived part of this myself and just wanted to share with you if you're having any digestive issues. Maybe you don't even consider them digestive issues, but once you hear this, you might go, oh, yeah, I do have that. I do suffer from that a little bit. So let's start covering them, and we will just start with number one factor, because that is the most commonly thought of, is the foods that we eat. And things that could disrupt when we think of food can be spicy foods, fatty foods, fried foods. It could be a lactose intolerance, a dairy allergy, or maybe not even an allergy. It just upsets your digestive tract. Other allergies to or sensitivities to different foods, or even outside sources in your environment. It can also be a low fiber intake, not taking in enough fiber. It can be overeating that could stress out the body. It can be eating too quickly, and also into what we drink is taken into that as well. So that is probably the first thing that most people think of is foods, right? When we think digestive system, we think it has to be something that we ate. Now, these food things can be a short-term, instant symptom. So meaning like you instantly get a bellyache, heartburn, reflux, different things like that that maybe aren't normal, but maybe now they've become your normal because your digestive system is way out of whack. What we put into our body also affects our body, whether it's a good way or a bad way. Whether we're absorbing the nutrients, not absorbing the nutrients. Well, we're disturbing our digestive tract, or we're helping our digestive tract. So the number two thing that I have listed is more around lifestyle factors, and that would be stress, anxiety, lack of exercise, because that is good for the brain and the mind, and also for getting things moving. If you are so sedentary, a lot of times people become constipated. Why is that? Because we're not moving the body to keep those bowels moving, and oftentimes we're not drinking enough water if we're just sitting. We drink a lot more water when we're active because we become maybe a little warmed up or overheated, like during exercise, or even if you have a physical job where you're moving your body a lot, that will help with that as well. The other thing is poor sleep, or even dehydration can become kind of like an ongoing issue for a lot of people because they don't drink enough water, and so they're constantly constipated, and then they're very uncomfortable, right? We all have probably been there where we've gotten constipated and you're uncomfortable. That is not a good place to be in. As you know, colon cancer is one of the top diagnosed cancers, and you want to keep your digestive tract healthy. that is going to help you the most when it comes to illness and disease. Number 3 is infections and illnesses. This is more like your viral and your bacterial infections. When you have a more healthy digestive tract, you can fight those off a lot more than somebody that has a worn down immune system. Somebody that eats more unhealthy or prepackaged foods, a lot of sugar foods, a lot of prepackaged snacks, along with takeout dinners and suppers, are going to have a much weaker immune system, because that includes part of what I listed in number 1, fatty, fried, could be spicy. So long term, that really plays havoc on your digestive tract. Then the 4th thing that I have listed is chronic conditions. Now, I am not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I have researched. Chronic conditions that fall under the digestive tract is things like IBS. So you go to the doctor, they really have no answer for you other than you have an irritable bowel syndrome. And that is, you got a lot of gas, a lot of bloating, a lot of cramping, a lot of irregular bowels. So you could be constipated one day and a day or two later you could have diarrhea. So it's very irregular. You could also have something that is inflamed in the colon, which comes down to other diseases that involve inflammation. You could have an intestinal disease that is more for sensitivities to gluten, but you can also be diagnosed with a disease that is gluten intolerant as well. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a sensitivity. It could also be linked to a disease. So it's a lot of sensitive issues that irritate the bowel, and those issues a lot of people get medications for. They're not fixing the problem, they're covering the problem that just continues to get worse. And after you've been on those medications, your body gets used to them, and then they add another medication or whatever, and down the road you're on probably 3 different medications instead of looking at what really has been causing the problem right from the beginning, and you never addressed it because your doctor never told you about it. The other thing that can cause irritation and issues to the digestive system is medications and substances. So this is like, if you take an antibiotic, it really hurts your gut microbiome. And a lot of people know that, but they don't know how to fix it. They just think over time that they will start feeling better, right? And which is true. If you are sick and you need an antibiotic, that antibiotic makes you feel better, but in the digestive tract, you have killed a lot of the bacteria that is good for the gut. So now you have to learn how to feed that bacteria to get that good bacteria up again. And a lot of people don't know that, and they just hope that their energy gets back up and that type of thing. So it's a thing to be aware of if you're ever on an antibiotic, that it does kill a lot of the good bacteria in your gut. So once you're on an antibiotic, you want to really take precaution and look at your alternatives for building up that microbiome. Another thing is over-the-counter drugs. Now, not saying that people use them all the time, every day, but I know some people. My husband had taken over-the-counter drugs for pain for years, and he probably had a very disruptive digestive system, because I know he, for in fact, was uncomfortable most of the time, but he didn't want to fix it. And so I know some of those things can cause issues, so it's another thing to be aware of, that it can be causing some disruption and irritation to the digestive tract. Also, substances such as caffeine or alcohol, those types of things will play havoc on your digestive system as well. Um, the sixth thing that I wrote down as far as your disturbances on the digestive tract is functional or uh, structural or functional issues, so such as gallbladder issues, gallstones. If you have a hernia, pushing on different areas of the gut. If you're overweight, a lot of that visceral fat is pushing on places that it shouldn't be pushing on, and causes a irritation to the digestive tract as well. So if you have a lot of that visceral fat pushing on other areas that make it uncomfortable, that is an issue in long term as well. You don't notice it probably as much because you don't gain a lot of weight overnight, so you don't notice those effects. But a lot of times those things pushing on other organs can cause issues. Other structural issues is things like pouches in your colon that seem to grab on to different fibers that irritate the body, or could be like when you get a colonoscopy, those little pouches that they take biopsies of to make sure that you're okay. Those are the types of things that could cause an irritation, so to speak, in the digestive tract. And the last thing that I had wrote down in my research are hormonal changes. And we don't think of that necessarily as a digestive tract issue. It's a lot of times it can be just simple things when we're dealing with hormonal issues, can be things such as constipation and irritation when we eat foods like a heartburn type of thing, because we're going through these symptoms of menopause, and sometimes it causes cravings and different things that make us eat these foods that cause different things. And like sugar spikes, that is a hormone, right? Insulin is a hormone. So it causes these things in our body, and sometimes we don't think of them as a digestive tract issue, which it not necessarily is a hormonal issue, but it is an irritation to the digestive tract. So that is what I have for the deep dive on digestive issues tonight, and just wanted to cover that. A lot of you have probably heard the saying, the gut is the second brain, and that's because it has so much to do with our overall body functions, and it knows real well what our body is dealing with in a lot of different areas, and not just the gut, such as like the stress related to the gut, the anxiety related to the gut, allergies related to the gut, where some people think allergies is just like from flowers and trees and pollen and that type of thing. A lot of things are associated with the gut. And so I just wanted to do a deep dive on that tonight, and share what I had researched. I wish you all a great evening.